Hey guys, Matt Jones back in Strathfield. In fact, back at the same place I made my first recording at in Sydney when I began the Sydney leg, first time of the 100 Days to Harvest. So today's the 16th of March, and I'm back in Sydney, which means that it's day 75 of what I'm calling 100 Days to Harvest. And I thought I'd just come and just a few people I was going to speak to tonight here, but they're sort of who have got restaurants, they're busy cooking and doing other things. So be that what that is, I thought I'd just make a quick commentary about what it is like coming back to Australia. And I think the way I'd make that commentary is to make a comment based on this idea of having a bagel party when we get to the 100 days of 100 Days to Harvest, looking at somehow sort of symbolically celebrating, and not the achievement of recording this for 100 days, but it's really a hat tip to the cultural norm, at least in the past, among Koreans, to give thanks to their sort of mythologically based three grandmothers in their sort of older animistic religions, and just basically to say, look, the baby's made it to 100 days. That's a pretty good indication that baby's probably going to get to a year, and then many more years past that. So that's reflective of how far Korean societies come over the last many decades, particularly since the Korean War. And I guess so there's two things I want to say about that. First one is, it wasn't that long ago in Australia, maybe 150 years ago, when child mortality wasn't at the rates that it is now. So first thing is, I don't think we should look at the historical record of sort of public health among Korean culture as something to suggest that we're examining a Western perspective in such a way that these are foreign problems and they've never been experienced by societies outside of Korea, which is completely untrue. Almost every culture has moved through a process of evolving, particularly on levels of public health. And so Baguil is more than a cultural tradition. Really, it's a ceremony within a household and a community, a village, to really be thankful that the baby has survived. So that I guess that shows the realities of life once upon a time in Korea. It shows the level of change, and it also shows the amazing degree of community spirit that Koreans have and still foster today. So the first one is that while culturally we express it differently, there's a lot that makes it similar than different, even though it's expressed differently. The second point is, Korea is even today still quite homogenous as a society. And just walking through Strathfield tonight, it's interesting just to reflect upon how diverse, in terms of culture and racially, how diverse Australia actually is. So what that point means for me is, when we look at this Baguil, I don't think it should be some sort of tokenistic show and tell of, look, I'm eating Korean food, or here's my Korean friend, or here's my Australian friend. Because, it's a great statement in any case. But I think getting to the core of this project, which is about the bonds between Australia and Korea and friendship, the reasons for those bonds are various. And it's not for me to determine or dictate what those are. So I'm really interested to know, for people who'd like to be involved, what strikes them as their gateway into that relationship between Australia and Korea. And there's so many dimensions. I mean, it's almost pointless trying to rattle them off here, because every person who's listening to this will have their own experience. So I'm giving it some thought, but I'll sort of come up with something a bit chunkier tomorrow. And what I'm proposing is that that we look at between the 8th and 12th of April, which is around the 100 days of this days to harvest. 100 days to harvest. That's on the 10th of April. What I suggest is, in that period, is we do have this Baguio, but we do it in keeping in the spirit of Baguio, of Thanksgiving. We show what we're essentially thankful for in terms of that relationship between Australia and Korea. So that's Australians looking to Korea, and Korea looking to Australians. And it's, like I said before, the spectrum's pretty broad. So I'm interested in your thoughts about what that might mean for us as we set about this project. You know, I'm not the brains trust in terms of what that might mean. So I'm really appealing to you, if you've got some ideas about how best people might get involved, I'd love to hear them. It's not as though I'm scratching for ideas, but I do want to make it a point of engagement rather than this is the formula, do it like this, because that's not representative of the relationship between Australia and Korea. It's diverse, inherently diverse. So welcome to Strathfield, probably one of the suburbs in Sydney that's idiosyncratically Korean. Another one would be Eastwood, and there's others as well. It's just starting to rain, so Sydney spring weather. So just reflecting on the diversity of Australia, how much more aware I am of that coming back to Australia from Korea, and also asking what might it be that we celebrate, or how do we celebrate the friendship between Australia and Korea when we get to this Baguio, which is essentially an informal way of just taking the project one step further. It's not the friendship tree itself. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to hearing from you soon.